So, can you live in Puerto Rico for less than $1,000 a month? And this video is for people that either live in Puerto Rico or want to come and live here in Puerto Rico to stack up cash, save up money, or do whatever you actually want to do and don't want to spend that much money. And for the sake of this video, I brought out my look-alike Versace shirt that cost me around $12 on Marshalls, because what you're gonna get in this video is a lot of value, but it's gonna look like you're gonna be living pretty fancy, okay? So how do I know this is actually possible? Because I'm currently living in Puerto Rico for less than $1,000 a month, and I made a full video about it, and I got responses saying, Tommy, that's not possible, that's not true. Well, I'm gonna go more into detail how an average person can come here to Puerto Rico, or that already lives in Puerto Rico, can actually find a way to live here for less than $1,000 per month. This is legit, a real house. If I made a video titled How to Live in New York for less than $1,000 per month, then you know you would be living in a box under the subway. But in this video right here is actually possible, and you're actually gonna be comfortable, so trust me when I say this, okay? Now, as always, guys, do me a favor and smash the like button. I appreciate it a ton. It helps out the channel. And on top of that, if you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, because this way you get updated when I post a new video, whether it's how to live here for $1,000 or how to save money or how to invest money. So you're always gonna get value by subscribing to this channel. Now, the very first thing, guys, I gotta break down is when it comes to living, being alive on this planet, on this green earth, we're all gonna have four main expenses that we basically need to cover. And that's gonna be shelter, utilities, groceries, and transportation, no matter where you actually are on this planet. So in reality, when it comes to being in Puerto Rico, you can get an apartment, that's a good thing, that they actually go ahead and pay your utilities for you, and they include that within the rent. So the goal for this video is to go along all these four expenses and show you how it's possible to live here for less than $1,000 a month. So the very first thing is, guys, shelter. How do you find shelter here in Puerto Rico? Well, the answer is actually fairly simple. So Puerto Rico has this Craigslist, but it's not as dangerous, because Craigslist in America, like, you might get a deal, but you also might have to get a discount in the hospital when you go there, because you never know who you're gonna meet up with. But Puerto Rico's Craigslist is called Clasificados Online. Don't worry, the link is down below, and you can actually find properties for sale or apartments for rent or houses, just properties overall that people are basically renting. And the idea is fairly simple. I'm gonna pull it up right here, and here it is right here. This right here is the Puerto Rican Craigslist, and over here you can find a bunch of different apartments. And as you can see, let me do the zoom thing so you guys can actually see, because it's not really that good. So as you can see right here, you're looking at somewhere around 500, 500, 450, 450, 500, 300, 350, 425. The answer is there are a lot of places here for rent that are actually not going for as much money as you probably think. You see? Now, one big thing is, it's all dependent on where you want to live in Puerto Rico. So whenever I was looking for properties to live here, I looked in the metro area. That's basically the city, like Bayamón, Cagua, San Juan, Carolina. And these are all areas that are basically like metro, city-like. You can actually drive anywhere. There's things to actually do. If you want to go outside of the city, then obviously you might get a cheaper deal. You might have better peace, but I'm just not interested in driving to places. So to me, it makes sense to live in this area. Now, once you find an apartment, my advice would be look for something that's no more than a third of your monthly income. So in this case, like $1,000 is your budget, no more than like 300 to 500 to maybe max $600. Then one big thing is make sure you have an apartment where you feel safe. So before you actually go moving somewhere because it's cheap, drive around and ask around. Like, how is that area? I went once to buy my car from these people, and literally we were walking there and I saw like this guy with a woman's wallet taking out the money and basically leaving. I was like, yo, that's a robbery. Like, I don't want to live around here, okay? So I don't live around there, okay? So make sure you do your research on different areas. But overall, Puerto Rico is fairly safe depending on where you live. It's just like everywhere else in the world. There are areas not that great and areas that are fairly okay, okay? That's the idea. And by the way, $1,000 a month is not gonna have you living like a princess or a prince. You're gonna be living a nice lifestyle per se, and you're gonna be stacking up a lot of cash, all right? That's the main thing. So shelter, what do you wanna worry about the most when you get an apartment? Just make sure, again, the area is safe. You have like a decent enough kitchen to actually cook things and a fridge that actually stores things, because if you get like a very cheap place, but then the fridge is very small, well, now you gotta invest into a fridge because you need to put your groceries in there. So you're gonna save money. And if you have, for example, like a little stove that doesn't work whatsoever, I had to buy a stove for my first apartment. It was a terrible, terrible deal altogether, and I got finessed. But that's why I'm telling you this, so you don't go ahead and get finessed. So shelter, that's basically somewhere between $350 to $600, and you can actually get your utilities actually included into your rent. But utilities by themselves, here's number 2 expense here. You can actually look at, for example, water, electricity, and also your phone bill, and on top of that also your internet bill potentially. You can get an internet bill for like $24 depending on what you want. Same thing for your phone bill. There are plans that cost $10. Again, this is a budget, okay? This is living on a budget. It's not you getting some T-Mobile Magenta plan for like $100 and an iPhone 12. This is not what this video is about, okay? Then you have, for example, like light and water. Potentially you can get that into your rent. But if you find an apartment you like but that's not included, in reality, as long as you're not having pool parties and disco parties and you're always having all the lights on no matter what, the answer is you're probably not going to spend more than $100 on this like altogether. Like the people that I went to that got somebody else robbed like that, long story, okay? They were basically paying like $60 on electricity and like a few dollars on their water. Like I think it was like $25 on their water. So in reality, you can save a lot of money as long as you're not being wasteful and trying to have pool parties every single day, okay? Now, the third expense is groceries. Everyone says, Tommy, this is gonna be so expensive. The answer is no. If you know what I know, and you live like I live, then you only really need 3 essentials, and that basically is rice, beans, and chicken, and vegetables. I think 4 now, and some water, okay? And to save on water, because you don't want to keep buying those water bottles all the time, is so annoying, the answer is just get a filter. Invest into a filter. It's like $30. It's like a jar with a filter thing on top. You can, it's like Brita makes it, Brita. Find it on Amazon or Costco. You get one of those, and you basically just get filtered water. You can actually drink it. It's fresh, it's safe, so that's actually pretty good. But overall, when it comes to groceries, if you know how to shop for food, like a mom that's trying to feed 6 kids, the answer is you will not spend more than $200 per person. I guarantee it. If you don't know how to shop for food, you will spend over $500. I guarantee it. Because when I first got here, I was basically just shopping like an idiot, and I was getting a bunch of things, and I was like, why do I have like 4 bottles of ketchup, and I'm single and I live in this place by myself? It makes absolutely no sense, okay? So you gotta know how to shop. You gotta know what you're gonna get. You gotta have a meal plan. No more than $20. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Now, believe it or not, one of the most expensive things on this island is going to be transportation. I thought about walking to places or biking to places, and that, or taking public transportation. And by the way, they do have that here. But that thought lasted around like less than 6 minutes, okay? You cannot get around this island without having, for example, some means of transportation. Ubers take forever. They're not basically a good method of transportation because you can't really rely on them. Sometimes there are no Ubers, sometimes there are, but that person's like 30 minutes away. You're like, why? Because it's how it is, okay? Not enough demand, not enough supply. You know how it works. It's basically economics, okay? But overall, get a car. And the car you get, a lot of people try to get new cars or finance a car. No, just get a used vehicle for a good price, okay? So if you don't have the cash on you, save up the money and buy a decent, good quality vehicle, like $5,000, $6,000. I paid $9,000 for my vehicle, and look for something that's basically Toyota, Honda, and Mazda. Those brands tend to be very, very good. And before you buy, you obviously have to go ahead and basically get a full inspection. So this way you know you're not getting finessed with a car that's cheap, but it's actually going to cost you more in the long term. And there's also a marbete. That's basically like the insurance thing here for the cars. That costs around $250 every single year, but in reality, that's around $20 that that you have to set aside every single month. So when the time comes, you can put that sticker on it and you don't get a fee on your car. Now, that's basically it when it comes to transportation. As far as washing your car, you can do that yourself. As far as putting like gas into your car, I can't tell you how much it's going to cost because basically we don't know how much gas is going to be worth tomorrow. But overall, when you take a look at all of these expenses, you can basically get it under $1,000 fairly easy. But again, you're not going to be living like a prince or a king or a princess or a queen. You're going to be living like an average person, normal person. You're going to be able to stack up a bunch of money. So then if you want to do that, you can do it in a very responsible manner. When I first got here to Puerto Rico, there are places and apartments that cost like $1,200 and they have like basketball courts, tennis courts, and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. But then you're like, why are you spending so much money on that, right? Take advantage that you can basically get apartments for cheap. And then if you want to buy something, you can actually buy something. Now, by the way, if you made it all the way to this part of the video and you are curious, and you're asking me, Tommy, how are you able to live here for less than $1,000? Go watch that video. I'll put the link down below. And it's actually a very good video. But overall, this home that I have right here, I own it. It's fully mine. And I basically have a car. It's paid off. I don't spend that much money on groceries. And I have very few utilities. So basically, guess what? I don't pay that much money. That's the idea. That's the key. Now, guys, overall, thanks for watching. Again, don't forget Clasificados online to find rentals, also to find cars. Check Facebook Marketplace, check everywhere, and then basically just compare. And don't just go into something right away, look around. And even though sometimes you might feel like, I gotta get this apartment because someone else is gonna take it from me, just make sure you don't sign up for a 1-year lease on something that you basically don't like. Like, it's okay when I first got here, it's okay to basically get an Airbnb, so you can basically look around and get what you actually like. The area that I like the most, honestly, is going to be Carolina, and it's also going to be San Juan. Caguas is very far away, but it actually works. It's actually fine. Bayamón, I'm not such a big fan of it. Me personally, Guaynabo is very nice, but it's also very expensive, okay? So it's all up to you and what your budget basically is. This video, if you have kids, obviously you might not be able to do it on $1,000, but the answer is be smart about it, look for opportunities, and this is how you get things done. But if you come here, you get this fancy apartment, you get this car, now you have a car payment, and then you have all these utilities, which having pool parties every single day, and then you're basically just buying a bunch of stuff in the grocery store, the answer is you're gonna stay in the same situation. It's not that hard to spend $4,000 a month here or even $8,000 a month. There are ways to spend a bunch of money here. But there are also ways to be conservative and save a lot of money on a budget. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I want you guys to comment no to Craigslist, okay? This way I know you made it all the way to this point in the video. So that is no Craigslist. I don't trust Craigslist. I have trust issues. I got robbed once with Craigslist. That's the truth. That's why I don't like Craigslist, okay? There you go. Story revealed. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. Comment down below any questions if you have some. If you're going to be coming to the island, let me know. I'll help you out. Up here is my face. Click on the subscribe or another video. Over here is another video or my face. I don't know how these things work anymore. And on top of that, follow me on Instagram or DM me on Instagram with any questions at TommyBryson. As always, long-term team officially out.